politically street, man. That's one of the coldest names you can have. Because we out here in these streets, but these politics is trickling down, so it's all intertwined, man. So we got to figure out how to work it the way we work. So shout out to politically street.
You know, it's not a heavy burden, it's a blessing, right?
Sir. Yes, sir.
You know, so as you just said, you know, you're going to improve. You're going to adapt, improve, and evolve.
Keep moving, yes,
and I think that's why this show is so apropos titled Politically Street. That's the same approach we have to take into the activities in which we're engaged in.
Yes, sir.
We have to adapt. You know, it is what it is, what it is. We have to embrace the realities in which we're facing.
Yes, sir.
We have to adapt. Then we evolve. We move forward. You know, and we collectivize by being able to listen to each other, to address issues, and to work together collectively to better the situations in which we're facing, so that we can move forward and embrace the realities of 2021. Because one thing is for sure is that we are in the present moment, and the present moment is as chaotic and confusing as any we've ever faced. But that is an opportunity for us to build and change the situations in which we're facing. So what we have to do is we got to get our mind right, and we got to get our body focused on doing the best that we can. And as T.I. loves to say, we got to make our next move our best move.
Right. With that being said, you are now tuning in to Politically Street, where we are Politically Street at all times. We're not here out to endorse any candidates. We are here to get our information for information purposes only, and put out a positive message for the listeners and those who are watching. So today I have none other than my brother Sed Keeler.
Thank you, sir.
Man, I met Mr. Keeler on KPFT. Formally, but informally, I met you at the Shrine of Black Madonna, where you had Professor Smalls coming to town. Man, I was just moved because the Shrine of Black Madonna here in Houston has such a following that we get hidden gems come through this town and nobody really knows. But you are the person that helped bring these people in, and so I was like, man, you know, I can't wait to meet this brother, man. And so, you know, we got to that thing where we can meet and do things. I actually purchase your book.
Oh, man,
you know what I'm saying? You are a powerful man. And so, but tell me first off, Brother Keeler, how did you get inspired to get into that movement, to the Shrine of Black Madonna, and bring in these powerhouses on the grassroots level?
Thank you, brother, and I appreciate you for acknowledging the greatness that you see in us, and we're just a mere reflection. I want to give honor and definitely homage to Esther King and you know, others who have been a part of this movement for longer than I can imagine or even calculate with a calculator. And to say that we began or we're doing anything special would definitely be hubris and not true. But what we do is we live in the shadow of our ancestors, and we carry ourselves upon their shoulders. And one of the things that always stuck out to me and emanated me and just permeated in my mind and my spirit and my body is that we are a powerful people. And we have a powerful story, and our story is so meaningful. And as Dr. Huey P. Newton said, we cannot expect white media to show positive images of black males and black men. We have to be responsible for that. We have to be able to showcase to our children that their story is more important than any video game or anything that can be shown or showcased on any screen, because our story is real, our narrative is true, and it's profound and it's powerful. And one of the things that stuck out to me is that our people used to always consistently and constantly have family reunions. And in those family reunions, you'd have someone that would stand up as a griot, and they would tell our story, and they would tell the history of our people. And sometimes they added some histrionics and some pontificating and signifying, but they put it down, and they let us know that we were prolific and profound, and that we had a responsibility not only to be accountable and to express expertly those expectations with our conscious deeds and behavior, but we also had to make sure that we express that to the young, and we let them know where they come from and who they are and how powerful that they are, so that they continue to move forward and they grow forward stronger. So it's not about, you know, just giving them technology or just giving them whatever society wants us to consume, but to give them something that will allow them to produce and allow them to be passionate about their purpose, because they're not born just to buy and get and to go to sleep and you know, eat. Nah, they're here to do something that only they can do, and that they're born to do. And if we set forth the example, then they'll do it even better and brighter and bigger than we can even imagine. So when we came with other brothers and sisters to the shrine, we knew that it was now time to bring those who could bring us into remembrance of our greatness, like Dr. Smalls. And Professor Smalls came here with a purpose to enlighten us and let us know that we are the ones that we're waiting on, and there's no more time to wait and waste.
That's right.
So the shrine offers us an opportunity to convene, just like those family reunions gave us our opportunity to connect. And as we connect, we not only build greater understanding for one another, greater empathy and emphasis on our responsibilities and holding each other accountable, but the beautiful thing is, from a physiological standpoint, as we begin to create these synapses in the brains, which are connections, we begin to think better. We begin to dream better. We begin to do better. And in those things, now we can begin to solve problems. Because that's what culture is for. That's why it's a cultural center. It's for us to solve our problems for ourselves.
I didn't think about it like that.
Right, that's what culture is for. Culture is designed so you can solve your problems. So you can figure out how to live more effectively, more efficiently, and to be more prolific and profound. So when we come together in this building on MLK, and it's not ironic that we're getting close to MLK's day, and I see that our young people are beginning to only think about the dream, but MLK had realized and understand that any time we don't have truth and we live in lies, it's going to turn into a nightmare. So we have to stand on what is true. We have to stand on what is right. And even if people don't like it, even if it's not the flavor of the month, we got to be politically street. Right? So that in being politically street, we speak to the grassroots. We speak for the grassroots. And we stand for the grassroots. So it only makes sense that we go to where the grassroots is. And anywhere in America you go, you'll find MLK. That's where our people stay. That's where our people are. And that's why we have to show that our people are not, something less than, something inferior, something for the back of the bus. No. We we are the ones that we've been waiting on because we have a great power. And not only have we shown that and showcased that in the past elections, because without black people in South Carolina, Joe Biden would not have been the nominee. And without black people everywhere in every hamlet and milieu in this country, he wouldn't have been the president. And you wouldn't see two senators from Georgia, one black, and that's the first time a black man has been in a Senate seat in the South. And that's a major accomplishment. And then you have the youngest senator since Joe Biden, who now will be replacing a Republican senator. And I'm not going to say their names, but it's important for us to recognize and realize the first Jewish senator from the South, really in a very long time, that will be able to hold those places. And what we have to do is to hold them accountable to all those promises that they gave to the Progressive Party, but particularly black people. And that's why the messages at the shrine and the messages to the grassroots are so essential, so that we can wake people up, and that not only can we wake them up so they're conscious, but conscious means aware, so you can make those adaptions and those evolutions necessary.
Let me ask you a question, because as of late now, our history, or our, what's the word I'm looking for, our pattern, I'm gonna say it like that, has been to where we're not entrusting in politics. You know what I mean? And so, I took a jab at it, Rep City Council.
You did a great job, brother.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. And what I've noticed was that when I was on the ground, boots on the ground, knocking on doors, people were saying, well, you know what? Nobody's come knocking my door in years, But I knew that with so many people in my race, it's going to be a ground game. Was going to win it. But what do you think that, or if the issue is why the grassroots movement hasn't really like jumped back on board with politics?
Well, the grassroots movement is moving every movement. That's why Stacey Abrams was able to do what she's doing.
Sure.
And I know everybody's going to say her name, and she definitely deserves credit because she tapped into the grassroots.
Okay.
She tapped into organizations that are on the ground level addressing the issues and at the threshold of the feet of the people and speaking to the people, not speaking for the people as propagating ideas and then, you know, perpetuating ideas that are not true unto the people, but they listen to the people and they're working with the people. So when it was time to galvanize the people came out in droves.
They did.
In 2008, there was black folk and brown folk that the Republican Party and even the political machine had never seen before.
Yes.
They didn't even know they existed.
Right. I was that
Right. And that's the key. And one of the things that Barack Obama did was he understood from his community organizing that you cannot get people to do something that they don't see a vested interest in.
Sure.
All these young people in this room, they know, and as well as we know, hey, people do things because, hey, it's something in it for them.
Right.
Right? What's my reward?
Right.
And as long as the grassroots doesn't see a reward in politics, then they're not going to get out into the wards, into the hamlets, into the ghettos, and say, hey, come on, vote. But you saw a serious and concerned effort of people to make sure that we don't have a repeat of 2016. That was one of the caveats, one of the carrots, one of the rewards.
Yeah.
And then you see a people beginning to become aware of our power. We're seeing the power of social media. We're seeing how changes and transformation can make a difference. And we're seeing individuals like you step out there and say, you know what, I want to use and utilize my voice.
Sure.
I want to become more politically aware, and I want to let the streets know it. And when you see things like that, of course you're going to have detractors. Of course you're going to have naysayers. Of course you're going to have people that say it's not going to work. But those people that know that it will work, that it can work, will work even harder, will work even smarter, and work with those that believe. And we all know teamwork makes the dream work.
Right.
So what has happened is, consequently, you've seen the power structure tell the grassroots, oh no, you don't have enough people, you don't have enough followers, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough this. So what happens is the disbelief and the disconnect occurs, and you have a sense of apathy. But what we have found, those that tap into their power and say that they're powerful, and they link up with those that are powerful, they build a sense of efficacy to say, I'm going to get it done. You know what I mean? There was an old movie called, I won't, say the full title, but Melvin Van Peebles. That as song, right? And in the movie, at the end of the credits, it was, you bled my mama, you bled my papa, but you won't bleed me, right? And that attitude right there is emanating from the grassroots of people saying that, no, we're going to take advantage of all of those things that happen. And sometimes things fall and falter, but we're not going to stumble, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep moving forward, right? And we're going to do these things. So when you stood out there and ran for the political office, is that brothers like us on the grassroots level know that not only can we use our voice and go vote, but we can make a difference in City Hall. And that's a powerful symbol. And it symbolizes not only are we waking up, but we're getting up to adapt and evolve. So I would push back on that. The grassroots is more powerful maybe than it's ever been, but there's a more concerted effort to diminish our power. And that's why I'm so happy programs like this exist, and everyone needs to follow and support Politically Street.
I appreciate that. So with that being said, man, we're going to segue into your book, man. Like, so I messaged you one morning on Facebook, and I forget what I said, but when you responded, you are powerful. Man, that jolted my spirit. I got up and said, man, you know what, let me go. I need to be doing something, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty something I'm powerful, man, you know what I mean? And so, but a week later, you know what I'm saying, I saw that, you know what, you wrote a book, and it's called You Are Powerful. So, you know what, I got to support this, man. So, take me on that your mindset of what this is about, then from day one to day 365, or just in between, what motivated you to write this and put this out there?
I want to give all respect to many individuals that I came in contact with who told me that they really enjoyed sending out a morning meditation. That was really the genesis, if I may, of what we were doing, and we wanted to change and transform people's day, because many of us, you know, we wake up in the morning and we're hoping that the day will be good, but we're worried and we're filled with fear. We have somewhere in the area of 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 87% of those thoughts are negative, and 90% of the thoughts that we had yesterday we had today, and 95% of the thoughts that we have today we'll have tomorrow. So if we don't transform our mind and our mindset, then we'll be set in a prison of defeat and fear and worry and doubt. And one of the things that I can add about the pandemic that hasn't been discussed but is disgusting is that there are 75,000 people that have died so far, not from the coronavirus, not from the economic recession, which has lost 140,000 jobs this month, not from the 376,000 people that have died from COVID-19, but no, 75,000 people will die from fear, anxiety, worry, and doubt.
Wow.
And what we don't understand, because we don't want to talk about, we want to act like we're made of stone or we're Superman, but even Superman had kryptonite, is that the negative energy that we feel is diminishing our light. And it's destroying our ability to look forward, to believe that we can achieve, and to do those things that we need to do. So we allow procrastination. We allow all of the haters and the naysayers to take over in our mind. We might put out a post and one person not liking it, and we focus on that rather than 100 that do.
You're right.
Right?
You're right.
We focus on the negative comments and those things that people say that we can't do rather than those who say that we can. So what we wanted to do is knowing and understanding that they say it takes 21 days to change a habit.
That's right.
But what we want to do is we don't want to make habits, we want to transform lifestyles. So if we look at it from a yearly perspective, each and every day reading one or reading another one or reading however many you might need to read, but to get your mindset in a place, in a situation where you can not only face the day, but you understand that you can make the day and shape the day the way that you want to transform it. Because one of the things that we have to understand is that our thoughts are things.
That's right.
They're energy. And that energy then turns into sound with us speaking. And as we speak things, not only is it going out our mouth, but it's going back in our ears.
That's true.
So we're hearing it again. And not only is it being heard again, but those words are going to manifest into life and into actions. So the things that we do with our hands and our feet emanate from those words and permeate those words and express those things. And what we want to do is we want to claim things with power. And in knowing that we are power, because, and this is specifically for our people, for the grassroots, is understanding we've been made to feel powerless. And as we feel powerless, then we think about those things that take our power away from us.
Right.
But as we begin to understand how powerful we are, then we begin to think about the things that we need to be doing and how to get it done. And then I can begin to work with you. Because as I realize my power, I see how powerful you are. And then we can begin to work together.
That's right.
Right? And as we inspire ourselves, we inspire others because they see that. And one of the things that I'll say, and it's really important for us to understand, is that dopamine and serotonin is ignited when we feel good about ourselves, when we feel positive, when we feel happy. But the thing that is really astounding and stellar, and I hope that our young people tap into it, is that if you see a positive action, they say your dopamine will rise. But if you see someone else in a positive action, your dopamine could potentially rise doubly.
Wow.
So when you see good things happen, good things happen to you.
Right, that's right. Oh, wow.
So as we begin to elevate our thinking and elevate our consciousness, then we elevate the consciousness of those around.
Wow.
And then they can begin to do the same.
Wow.
So it has, remember that old saying, a domino effect? Monkey see, monkey what? Do. Right? So when we have a community, instead of calling each other dogs and all other derogatory things, when we start calling each other kings and saying you're powerful, when we start saying that, now you'll start seeing energy elevate. And as energy elevates, then thoughts elevate. And as thoughts elevate, environments elevate. And we begin to change things.
I just thought about something you said about what we call each other. So, being in the quote-unquote conscious community, I don't like to say conscious, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of our brothers and sisters relate to each other, or as what's up, God, or so.
Right.
How do you feel when some of our fragmented religions, I'm gonna say, because they are fragmented, but
Yeah.
you know, how do you feel that they kind of downplay what God creates, as God can create God? So how do you feel about people saying, no, we shouldn't call each other gods or goddesses or whatnot?
Yeah, and I love these conversations because it gives us an opportunity to discuss things more elaborately involved, and we can begin to delve into some serious issues and topics. One of the things that I will always say is that regardless of how you feel God or what you feel God is or what you describe God to be, we can all agree God is love.
Check.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we are expressing love, then if we are making love our focal point, then we can not only find a common ground, but we can elevate upon that ground, right? Mm-hmm. So that we can begin to do those things that are in opposition with us loving ourselves, that are in opposition of us expressing and exhibiting that love in its highest formation and fashion.
Gotcha.
So when I come in contact with brothers and sisters, I humble myself to realize that the thoughts that you have, the thoughts that you feel, the thoughts that you think are not going to hurt me. It's the thoughts that I think.
Sure.
It's the thoughts that I feel that have the greatest impact upon me. So what I have to do is to get my thinking process properly and acclimate it to what is. So when I look at the word conscious, because you use that word conscious, and you said it with a little bit of hesitation.
Right.
But I've studied the word conscious, and it means to be aware. And the thing that I think about is, when we use the term God, we are literally talking about awareness.
Right.
So I don't have no problem with the word conscious. I don't have no problem with the word God.
Right.
Because I know that it's synonymous with awareness.
Sure.
Because when you are aware, then you're going to address things that focus, that for what it is. And you're going to focus on what it is. And right now what it is, if I see a brother elevating and growing with whatever he believes, then I want him to believe that belief even stronger, because it's working for him. And it's strengthening him, and it's giving him the support he needs. Now, if I can support him with the belief that I believe, then that's fine. If not, then that's fine by me, because we need to work together. So when we get into these conversations, what we have to always remember is that we have been dismembered. We have been disconnected, and we have been divided, not only by our tribalism and sectarianism, meaning where we live and what hood we come from, but we've also been divided politically and spiritually and religiously. And we are religious in dividing each other so that we don't operate as brothers and sisters. But what we need to understand and what we need to work on is let us listen to each other and engage each other so that we can see the God rather than talking about the God. Right? I see a lot of brothers, they talk about the God and they have issues and problems with the God, but they don't exhibit and express that God. So what I always tell brothers and sisters is, if you really believe that God, then show me that God.
Sure.
And I respect that. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully I will be a great representative of the God that I believe and what I believe God to be. So in answering your question, I think if we get hung up on those things, then we miss the things that matter.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And there is a time and season for it, but I think that we have to be on point, and we have to understand and realize what time it is. And it's not time to get caught up on things that are going to get us in trouble. We got to focus on those things that are going to keep us safe and sound. So we might not like something that happens, but we got to focus on what matters most. Because in doing that, we can learn so much that we miss out by being negative, by being toxic. Because we're not going to get what we need to get if we don't listen to each other and we don't learn from each other. We might not like everything everybody says, but that's not the point. The point is, I need to protect you. You need to protect me, right? So that we can begin to build, because we have a common interest. And our common interests are not something that we hold on dogmatically. No, they begin to evolve, they begin to develop and develop so that we can begin to address what it is. So I would say to any brother and sister out there that has issue with what I'm saying is that find what you believe and do that to the best of your ability, right? So that then we can begin to listen and learn from each other. And then we'll put those beliefs and see what it is, just like on the scale of my eye. You know, they put the feather and you put your heart,
That's right.
right? Right? And if your heart was right, you transition, right? But if your heart wasn't right, you lose out, right? So I think we need to put our heart in whatever it is, and we need to focus on what it is so we can do the best that we need to do.
All right. I got one last question for you.
Good, take your time.
So you were on KPFT, and with COVID hit, it kind of put some things into a different, I guess, paradigm or shift.
We had to adapt and evolve.
Right. So with that adapting, what did you do? You started a Zoom channel, what you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, so I watched a couple of videos, and I like.
Watch somewhere in the area of 11 hours of screen time a day. All right. So we're on the screen. We're connected to the screen. And social media is the thing. As a matter of fact, Facebook has somewhere in the area of 2.7 billion users. And I use that word users because they make sure that you're a user. When you sign up for the terms and conditions and they put those cookies on your phone, they're making sure that they're using you.
Right.
Every little bit about you, they learn about you, right?
Right.
So that they can use that information to sell to the advertisers and to those who want you to get to consume. So what we wanted to do was to counteract the advertisements that are constantly bombarding your phone. If you scroll through Instagram, you'll find that they will have an advertisement or a sponsored ad about everything, but guess what? It's correlated and connected to you. So they're using your algorithms against you to sell to you information, right? Because we live in an attention economy. So they want your eyeball. And they know in getting your eyeball, they can get your brain. That's right. And they get your mind to think things. So what we have to do is we have to critically analyze everything that we're thinking, why we're thinking it, and what in thinking is that going to lead to. So what we wanted to do, we wanted to adapt and evolve. We still do the show 9 to 11 on KPFT 90.1 FM or www.kpft.org every Sunday. But what we also wanted to do in conjunction, because we have so many eyes and ears on those screens, is we wanted to give them some things that are tangible, that are fruitful, and we want to bring those people to them that they're used to seeing at the shrine that right now they can't because of COVID-19 and quarantine and social distancing. So what we're doing is we're adapting, we're evolving, we're giving people critical and necessary information so that they can elevate in their thinking, so they don't get caught up in the negativity, and they can use their ability, and then they can function effectively, so we can begin to correct the situations that we have to address culturally. So we're being politically street on Facebook, you know what I'm saying? And you know, the thing is that it's a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be able to do it, because what we found is that people need to see those images. There was a film by the name of Book of Eli. I don't know if you've seen it with Denzel Washington.
I did.
And go ahead.
I didn't know that Denzel's character was blind the whole time.
That's right, but he was the only one that could see.
And I was like, that is, okay, go ahead.
Right, that's what I'm glad you caught that, because nobody really caught it until the end. Right? And then people were like, was he blind? Was he not blind? And I used to tell people he was the only one that could see. Because he saw the value of books. What was he fighting for? He wasn't fighting for money. He wasn't fighting for fame. He wasn't fighting for followers. He was fighting for books. He was fighting for information, because they were burning the books. They were burning the information. And the people were going absolutely insane. Right? Because it wasn't a famine of water. It wasn't a famine of bread. It was a famine of information that was able to tap them into the God consciousness, able to tap them into love, able to tap them into faith, able to tap them into greater understanding and wisdom. And because of that dearth, because of that lack, because of the scarcity of that, they weren't able to make the wise decision necessary to walk on the path of life. And that film used a blind man to show you
that's
that
powerful.
you have to look within to be able to truly see. And that's what our people need to begin to understand, because they're controlling our eyeballs and they control what we see. So we have to go within to be able to see what things really are. Otherwise, you'll be deceived, right? You'll be deceived.
Right.
So you have to be able to find good information. And I use that example to hopefully verify, codify, and quantify how our young people, especially, they have to be able to discern between good and evil. Because if they do not, they will be used and they will be confused and they will lose. And this is what we have to begin to understand, because these phones that they're using and utilizing are tools and weapons. And like any tool, like any weapon, if you don't know how to use it, you're going to use it against yourself.
That's true.
And against those closest to you.
That's true.
Because we have to be very, 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 very wise. Because these tools are used to use against us.
Wow.
Right? So in saying that, we have to spend time reading. We have to spend more time reading. And we have to get out of the fallacy of thinking that we can just watch visuals. We can just watch images. No, we have to read. The mind is a muscle. The brain is a muscle. And one of the best ways we can exercise that muscle is by giving ourselves new information. And the best information is found in these books that we've been burning. And a lot of bookstores, and I want to share this, a lot of bookstores have been closing down. Half Price Books is closing. And there are no more bookstores of Half Price Books in the loop. Now bookstores are becoming only for those of the elite.
Wow.
And one of the things that I found from Jeff Bezos, who's made more money in the pandemic than he's ever made, same thing with Zuckerberg, and same thing with Yates, and same thing with Warren Buffett, they read at least 2 to 4 books a month.
Wow.
The wealthy people that I come around with, they have information, because what B.C. Forbes, the father of Steve Forbes, who made Forbes magazines, which watches all the millionaires and billionaires that they have us coveting on Instagram and Facebook, they always say, and they always quote what BC said, and BC said, information means money.
Wow.
And the more information you have, the more money you have. Even the very YouTube, even the very Facebook, even the very entities in which we're stuck on and glued to every day. The people that create those entities have information. And they know how to code that information and use that information to make money for themselves. So what we have to empower our young people to do is don't just be a user. Don't just be a consumer. Be a producer. You've got to be an owner. Because the thing that we have to inspire our 17, 13, 14, 15, 8-year-olds to understand is who's going to be the one to create the next form and formation of technology. Right? Who's going to be the next one to code? Who's going to be the next one to get into IT? Who's going to be the next one to do the things that they have to do to change the situations and transform so that we can adapt and evolve? Because if they're thinking the way that things are now are the way they're going to be 20 years from now, they are sorely mistaken, because you and I can tell them that's not the way it is. Because it ain't like it was 20 years ago, my brother. And I know you know that. They don't know that. But they have to understand that they have to adapt and evolve. Right? So that we have to set the bar higher and the expectations higher so that they will be on fire, ready to compete. Not ready to survive, not ready to live, but to compete and to win. Because if we're not teaching our children that, then we're teaching them to fail. We're teaching them to be servants. We cannot teach them to be servants. Because another class of people is teaching their children to be masters. And to be masters, you must master the mind.
That's right. I agree. Well, hey, y'all, look, we can, this podcast can go on for probably about 3 or 4 days talking, you know what I mean? Because the information is so vast and of what Brother Keeler is touching on, you know. So, but no, man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Tell everybody out there how they can know what your Instagram page, Facebook, how they can follow anything that you're doing, because, you know, hey, we're helping each other.
Hey man, it's much love, and I want everybody to tap into Politically Street. I definitely want people to follow you, and we got to support your next campaign and everything that you're doing, brother. You know what I'm saying? You definitely are a good brother, but they can tap into what we're doing on Facebook at Conscious Mindset. Look me up on Facebook at Sed Keeler, that's my name, or on IG at It's Been Said. You can always go to the website, You Are Powerful Today, grab a book, or email me at sedtruth@yahoo, that's Said Truth at Yahoo, because what we want to do is we want to get the youngsters the books, and we definitely want to get this information into their hands. Because if we do, if we get tapped them into the regimen of reading, and not just on the internet, not just on the computer, not just on the cell phone, but reading hardback books, reading softback books, that imagination that's stimulated, the ability to be able to get the dexterity, it will help them in college, it will help them in life, and it will help them not only be able to bridge the gap, but it will help them elevate and understand the fact that they were born special. If you look at your hands, you look at your fingertips right now, you will see that there are lines, there are algorithms on your fingertips that no one who has ever lived has, no one who is living now has, nor anyone yet to come will ever have. So that should let you know that you are powerful, right? And you were born and designed for power. So now it's time to make it happen, and let's do everything we can to inspire these young people to be as powerful as we know that they have the potent potential to express and possess. So it's a plum pleasing pleasure, as my mentor Les Brown would say, to be with you. And I'm just happy we got all these young people in the room as well. And they've been sitting quiet. Some of them been moving around. They've been ready to go. You know what I'm saying? But I do know this. I know that 5 years from now, hopefully a seed will come, right? Because the seed is planted and it doesn't grow in the same day that it is, right? It takes some time to come into fruition and ferment. So the seeds that we're planting now, hey, when they come into fruition, I know they're going to be greater than anything that we can wish, right? Because these young people are born for greatness, and what we want to do is inspire them that not only will it happen in the future, it's happening right now in the present, because the present is a gift. And it's been a true gift to be in front of you, brother. And I love what you're doing, and I just know that it's going to get bigger, better, and brighter than anything that I can imagine I see today.
I salute you back, brother. So, hey, I don't know how to top that, so with that being said, you have to do the episode of Politically Street.